Coming up on Valley View News, a student's thoughts on how CSUN could be more friendly towards students with disabilities. Plus, CSUN returns to in-person classes after 2 years of virtual learning. And COVID results in food banks becoming more essential.
Hello and welcome to Valley View News. I'm Natalie Sierra.
And I'm Elizabeth Campos in the Digital Media Center.
The California State University Chancellor Joseph Castro resigned. This is because of Castro's mishandling of sexual assault allegations against one of his colleagues. We asked CSUN students how they feel about how the chancellor dealt with the situation.
I think it's good that he's resigning.
I think it's really unfortunate that he resigned only after the expose.
I mean, I think it's a good thing that he resigned. Probably should have happened a lot sooner.
The chancellor's resignation will be effective immediately.
California is the first state to make the shift from a pandemic to an endemic. Governor Gavin Newsom announced a plan that provides a quick reaction to outbreaks. Newsom's plan is to move from the crisis phase to the phase where society will coexist with the virus. The goal is to stockpile 75 million masks, provide up to 200,000 vaccines, and more. Still, many are uncertain of when the mask mandates will be lifted.
CSUN journalism student Justin Borsis sat down with our reporter Brandon Zamora to explain how CSUN could better serve students with disabilities.
Most college students worry about finding parking or their classrooms on the first day of school. However, CSUN journalism student Justin Borsis is more concerned about how he'll maneuver around campus and get into his classrooms.
I always come to campus like a week before classes start, and I start mapping out where I'm going to go.
Borsis lives with cerebral palsy. He says not all areas of campus are handicap accessible, adding that while some entrances to buildings are easy to maneuver, classroom doors, on the other hand, lack easy accessibility. As a result, he's often forced to wait for classmates to help open the door.
We have group messaging apps or, that kind of thing, or I'm supposed to text somebody and go, is there anybody inside the room, and can you help me inside?
Zena Taher is one of the many classmates who's happy to help Justin. Taher says the school's first step to better accommodate students with disabilities should be to simply ask them how the school could improve.
And the school has access to that information, so there's no reason why they wouldn't be able to reach out to people and ask them questions and see what they need.
The dress department helps students with disabilities. It offers many different services tailored to each student's needs. The department's director, Jody Johnson, didn't respond to requests for comments on Borsis' situation. Meanwhile, Borsis and Taher both mentioned how the Disability Resources and Educational Services Department previously told Justin it doesn't have an evacuation plan for students with disabilities in its own department.
That is very alarming to me, especially when we're talking about possibly the most vulnerable portion of your population physically.
Justin added that he's grateful for all the resources the dress department offers, but he still believes the university could improve to better serve students with disabilities. Reporting from Northridge for Valley View News, I'm Brandon Zamora.
The indoor mask mandate is now the cause of LA's latest protest. Many demanded an end to the mask mandates at the County Department of Public Health on Friday. Protesters tossed masks outside the department building after Governor Gavin Newsom announced his plan to live with COVID-19. Parents from Chino Hills are among many who are voicing their frustrations with their district after they turned down easing mask mandates in classrooms. This came after Los Angeles Unified announced Friday that it would drop its outdoor COVID-19 mask mandate.
Gas in California has reached an expensive all-time high. The West is considered a petrol island since it's cut off from the rest of the country by Rocky Mountains. This makes gas a secluded and tight market. California has a cap-and-trade program requiring oil and gas refineries, as well as big greenhouse gas emitters, to offset emissions by purchasing carbon credits. The tax on each gallon in California is now at 51.1 cents, just behind Pennsylvania at 58.7 cents.
In a helicopter crash in Newport Beach, one police officer died and another was injured. Chief Eric Parra says 2 officers were on a Huntington Beach PD helicopter when it crashed into Newport Beach waters. Parra says 44-year-old officer Nicholas Vea died from his injuries. The other officer was rescued and taken to the hospital where he's in stable condition. Parra says the cause of the crash is still unknown. However, the police department is investigating the situation and inspecting its other aircraft.
The defense and prosecution rested their case in the federal hate crime trial for the 3 men who murdered Ahmaud Arbery. The trial ran for 4 days, and evidence presented included racist text messages, social media posts, and graphic crime scene images. U.S. District Court Judge Lisa Godbey Wood has now excused the jury. Closing arguments start Monday.
A judge has sentenced former police officer Kim Potter to 2 years in prison. This is a significantly lighter sentence than the prosecutors were asking for after Potter was found guilty of killing Dante Wright in 2021. Judge Regina Chu was choked up when sentencing Potter.
Officer Potter made a mistake that ended tragically. She never intended to hurt anyone.
Protesters for and against Potter attended the sentencing. Potter will be required to spend 2/3 of her sentence behind bars. After that, she will spend 1/3 of it on supervised release. So far, Potter has served 58 days in prison, which are currently counting towards her sentence.
Minnesota lawmakers unveiled a new public safety proposal to recruit police officers. The goal is meant to combat the shortage of police officers across the state. Majority Leader Ryan Winkler explains what the proposal entails.
We have put together a bill that is built on the premise that Minnesota can recruit, can hire, can train, and can retain the kinds of police officers who reflect our community's values.
The plan requires applicants to agree to background checks, and they would also be reviewed by a selection committee.
The Education Department said Wednesday it canceled $415 million in federal student loan debt held by people who were misled by for-profit colleges. The Education Department also supported borrower defense claims associated with DeVry University. DeVry was accused of misleading prospective students between 2008 and 2015 with false claims about the university. The department also announced new discharges in support of former students who attended Westwood College, ITT Technical Institute, the Minnesota School of Business and Globe University, Corinthian Colleges, and Marinello Schools of Beauty.
Gavin Newsom announced proposed legislations to increase certain gun controls. The focus is on serial numbers, background checks, and civil suits intended to hold manufacturers accountable. Newsom spoke and directed the strict proposal to a similar bill made by Texas on abortions.
If Texas can use a law to ban a woman's right to choose and to put her health at risk, we will use that same law to save lives.
California saw a rise of more than 500 homicides in 2020. That is the largest jump in state history since record-keeping began in 1960.
Former President Donald Trump released his very own social media platform called Truth Social. The app can be downloaded from Apple's App Store, but access is limited. Truth Social is a Twitter-like platform that Trump started after leaving the White House. Users who downloaded the app got the message inviting them to the service. Truth Social says there's a waitlist of more than 150,000. Trump was suspended from mainstream social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube a year ago after he released and supported misinformation.
Several California universities, including CSUN, returned to in-person classes this month. Our reporter Tracy Mejia talked to students and faculty to get their thoughts on returning to campus.
Students at California State University of Northridge returned to in-person classes this month. For 2 years, their courses were taught online through Zoom because of the pandemic.
I was really excited too because I really like interacting with a lot of people like in person. Also getting back to classes after 2 years is a little difficult, but I just like being face to face.
In order to attend in-person classes, everyone, students, faculty, and staff, must show proof of vaccination and a booster. They had to upload their documentation through CSUN's online health site. Then, before going to campus, they must complete a COVID-19 survey verifying they're not sick.
My only concern is that people aren't taking it as seriously as it should be taken.
The university says it's working hard to ensure that students and employees feel safe and comfortable coming back to campus. CSUN believes vaccinations play a vital role in keeping the campus healthy.
I'm curious what's going to happen when the city lifts the indoor mask mandate. I suspect we'll continue to wear masks here.
A number of students didn't want to return to in-person classes at CSUN. Last month, some students were circulating a petition to keep classes online. Reporting from Northridge, I'm Tracy Mejia for Valley View News.
More to come on Valley View News. A new food drive in Hollywood helps struggling families. And Coca-Cola releases a new flavor, but for a limited time.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know wherever you are.
It's fine that other people like you. It's more important that you like yourself. And I'm comfortable with every part of me. Meals on Wheels coming to my door as someone who's housebound assures me that I'm not forgotten. They care that I'm okay. My name is Asha Ida Bell. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
First, we're going to check in with Vanessa Garcia in Studio B for some international news.
Demonstrations in Ottawa became violent Friday as protesters allegedly assaulted officers and attempted to take their weapons. Interim Ottawa Police Chief Steve Bell says that they're in control of the situation on the ground and will continue to push forward to clear the streets.
We also indicated that we would escalate and forcibly remove people from the streets if they did not comply.
Protests began after a mandate that requires Canadian truckers crossing the border to be vaccinated against COVID-19. More than 100 people had been arrested and 21 vehicles were towed Friday night. The White House announced President Joe Biden is willing to meet in principle with Russian President Vladimir Putin. However, Biden has a condition for this meeting: Russia not invading Ukraine. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki says the meeting will be held later this week. Psaki also says they are ready for diplomacy, but are also ready if Russia decides to go to war. The longtime associate of Jeffrey Epstein, Jean-Luc Brunel, has been found dead in his prison cell. The French modeling agent was allegedly found hanged in his cell in Paris, France. An investigation into the cause of death is underway by the French Judicial Police, as prosecutors can't confirm if this was a suicide. Back in December of 2020, Brunel's arrest involved multiple counts of rape, sexual assault, harassment, criminal associations, and human trafficking. Majority of the cases involved victims who were minors. His arrest was involved with the 2019 French prosecutors' examination, which investigated the acts of sexual nature likely committed by Jeffrey Epstein and possible accomplices. Queen Elizabeth has tested positive for COVID-19. The Buckingham Palace says the 95-year-old is dealing with mild cold-like symptoms. Just last week, Prince Charles tested positive for the virus for a second time. Sources can't confirm if there was a possible exposure between Prince Charles and Queen Elizabeth. The Queen is fully vaccinated and continues to follow her duties at Windsor. However, she is still being monitored and is receiving medical attention. The United States is resuming its avocado inspection program in Mexico's Michoacan state after imposing a temporary ban in response to a U.S. inspector receiving a death threat. The Department of Agriculture's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service shared that they were closely working with Mexican authorities to enhance safety measures for inspectors working in the fields. The state governor, Alfredo Ramirez Bedoya, said he was pleased with the U.S. government's decision to resume its avocado inspection program. Michoacan is the only state authorized to export avocados to the United States, with around 80% of its avocados going to the U.S. market. That's all from me in Studio B. Back to you, Natalie.
Food drives have turned into the holy grail for receiving groceries in these difficult times. Valley View's Ruby Cordova brings us to the streets of Hollywood to show us a new food drive and how they're feeding hundreds of families.
A shaky economy and COVID-19 have led food banks to take on a more active role in society. LA Public County Health Coordinator Armin Turbar-Sagan says their food drive is fairly recent and they're trying to expand their services.
Talks have been is always about how to optimize. So for now, like, our capacity is servicing about 150 people. We want to know, can we expand that? Can we move up to 200, 300 people?
The Wilshire Wellness community also gives cookbooks to people, teaching them how to create different dishes. The people here weren't comfortable with being on camera, but they did express joy and relief for the help. Health program analyst Angela Salazar says this is the most exciting part of her day.
This provides an opportunity for people who may not have access or the means to get their own. So we want to make sure that people are eating as healthy as possible.
Workers here don't get paid, but in return, Turbar-Sagan says everyone is just happy to leave their houses.
It's always a really, really, amazing experience coming from me and the staff as well. All really, really love this event.
Online registration is required for those who want to attend. Each person is eligible for up to one 20-pound bag of produce at a first-come, first-served basis. Reporting from Hollywood for Valley View News, I'm Ruby Cordova.
This year, Alaska Airlines will offer its first ever subscription for travelers. The Flight Pass will offer them a chance to venture through many West Coast routes with a variety of budget. The subscription has 2 annual passes, which are based on best value and flexibility. The monthly charge for the first plan is $49, and the Flight Pass Pro starts at $199. Travelers will be able to book early as 90 days in advance and same-day booking 2 hours before departure. Alaska Airlines calls the flight subscription plan a better opportunity for travelers.
Uber is showing signs they are moving past the pandemic slowdown. The company says its revenue went up by 83% year over year to $5.8 billion in the last 3 months of 2021. Uber CEO Dara Khosrowshahi says their results show how far they've come since the pandemic. He also says it shows how eager people are to move around their cities. Uber previously had 118 million active users in its last quarter, and 27% increase from the year prior.
Netflix announced Friday that it was raising its prices for U.S. subscriptions for its standard plan by $1.50, its basic plan by $1, and the premium plan by $2. Canada's prices also went up for a standard plan by $1.50 and premium by $2. Its basic plan remained the same. This sent Netflix stock up by 2%. Netflix is set to report its fourth quarter earnings on Thursday.
Coca-Cola released a new flavor, a limited edition version of the classic Coca-Cola Starlight. The new beverage comes in regular and zero sugar. The new Coke is the first beverage from Coca-Cola Creations and was inspired by space. Coca-Cola is trying to reach younger consumers by offering a new mysterious product. According to Coca-Cola, there's one thing that isn't new about Starlight. In the 1980s, they sent a can of Coke into space.
Last year, our reporter Catherine Hernandez spoke with a few agricultural workers about the increased chance they face of contracting COVID-19. Paired with receiving no benefits, these workers say they just want to be recognized for their essential work.
Many businesses had to shut down during the pandemic, but the agriculture industry continued with its mostly undocumented workforce. Those workers are considered essential workers. Nevertheless, they don't qualify for most assistance.
They don't have access to health insurance or any benefits, and they continue to work because they have to feed their families.
California has more than 800,000 farm workers. They're more likely to get COVID-19 than people in other industries. They work long hours in close proximity to many people. Farm workers say they may be called essential, but they aren't treated like they are.
I thank God that I haven't gotten COVID because we work so much and put our health on the line. The government doesn't realize that. We don't receive the help we deserve.
Many undocumented farm workers say they want to be treated with respect and dignity. There needs to be more awareness about their rights and their citizenship. Magdaleno says they make sacrifices that should be recognized.
They have 10 to 15 years they haven't seen their family. It's not possible. They suffer from every aspect of their life.
Many laborers say they hope that one day their essential work will be recognized and they'll be welcomed to the U.S. legally. Reporting for Valley View News, I'm Catherine Hernandez.
When we come back, we'll hear from CSUN alumni about their Pulitzer Prizes, and we're also updated on Coachella's COVID safety rules. Stay with us.
British music entrepreneur Jamal Edward died at age 31 Monday. His mother said he died of a sudden illness. Edward launched his online platform in 2006 called Smoky Bars TV. SBTV gave early exposure to artists like Dave, Jessie J, Ed Sheeran, and Skepta. Celebrities and sport figures took to their social media paying their respects. They included Rita Ora, George the Poet, and Chelsea soccer star Reece James.
The 94th annual Oscars will be hosted by actresses Wanda Sykes, Amy Schumer, and Regina Hall. It'll be the first time 3 women will host the Academy Awards. Sykes and Schumer are veteran comedians who branched out to the big screen. Oscar ratings have declined each year, and research shows that part of the reason is that Hollywood productions lack diversity. This is the first time any of these women have hosted the Oscars.
Music festivals like Coachella and Stagecoach announced they will no longer be requiring testing or masking requirements. This comes after last fall they shared that vaccination would not be required for entry. The California Department of Public Health issued guidelines that went into effect Wednesday saying vaccination proof will no longer be required for large outdoor events. Coachella will take place over 2 successive weekends, April 15th through 17th and the 22nd through 24th. Harry Styles, Billie Eilish, and Ye, also known as Kanye West, will be headlining Coachella.
Pulitzer Prize winners Julio Cortez and Ringo CHUI both attended CSUN to speak on behalf of their hard work and dedication for their jobs. Valley View News' Dominique Silva was at the event.
CSUN alumni Julio Cortez and Ringo CHUI both won Pulitzer Prizes in 2021 for their photography contributions covering events like George Floyd protests and the Capitol insurrection. They were part of an Associated Press team that won Pulitzers. Both visited CSUN to talk to students about ways to advance photography careers.
Find the grants, find the programs for photographers. Eddie Adams' workshop is only for recent graduates. After that, you can't do it. And that's one place where you can network and meet editors and other photographers that can help you, set up your path.
They spoke at Curlin Lecture Hall in the Soroya. The audience had many journalism students like ROMINA.
It was very inspirational. It actually inspired me to go back to photography.
During the presentation, Cortez and CHUI showed and explained their work. They often went into detail telling the stories behind each photo.
2020, go for the protest because I have to face the police. Every time I'm scared, they shoot me. Because during the whole year, I got 5 shots. Yeah, so it's very much harm to me.
Julio Cortez and Ringo CHUI both work for a wide variety of publications. Along with receiving the Pulitzer Award, Julio received honorary membership to the Kappa Tau Alpha Honorary Society and the 2015 Outstanding Service Award. Reporting from Northridge, California, I'm Dominique Silva.
The MLB is postponing spring training until March 5th. Many fans already suspected spring training might be postponed because of the lockout. The delay is affecting an Arizona nonprofit called Hohokam. Steve Adams volunteers with Hohokam.
Hopefully that, we don't lose more than just 1 week because, youth sports is going to be negatively impacted from us not being able to donate.
Some of the training facilities posted disclaimers for fans who purchased tickets to the spring training games. The disclaimers said fans will get refunds if they already bought a ticket.
Former LA Angels employee Eric Prescott K was found guilty in charges related to pitcher Tyler Skaggs' death. The Angels formerly employed K as their communications director, where he served as the team's PR contact. K provided drugs to Skaggs in 2019. Authorities found the pitcher unresponsive in his hotel room. A 2019 toxicology report determined the mixture of alcohol, fentanyl, and oxycodone intoxication led to Skaggs' death.
In honor of Black History Month, the White House reveals a new exhibit that highlights historical African American figures. It features a 1967 photo from the Lyndon B. Johnson Presidential Library of Thurgood Marshall. The photo was taken before Thurgood Marshall was nominated as the first African American Supreme Court Justice. The exhibit also includes former NASA astronaut Mae Jemison, the first African American woman to travel into space. Her display holds her book, Find Where the Wind Goes, which features her life story and how her passion for science began at a very young age. The Biden administration aspires to bring attention to those historical individuals and their contributions.
Pop superstar Justin Bieber is delaying his world tour after testing positive for COVID. A tour representative says Bieber found out he had COVID on Saturday after his Friday show in San Diego. Bieber's show in Las Vegas was postponed until June 28th. He says he's thankful he's feeling okay. The global tour was scheduled to begin in 2020, but was delayed due to the pandemic twice.
Last fall, one of our reporters spoke to a blind skateboarder about how he uses his disability as an inspiration to others. Our reporter Elizabeth Medina has the story.
COCO ATAMA, just call him COCO, is a CSUN student with big dreams and a passion for skateboarding.
Skateboarding is my life. Skateboarding is my heart, skateboarding is my soul, because when I'm on a board, I feel normal.
When you first watch him skate, you may not notice he's blind. COCO lost his vision to a disease called Leber's congenital amaurosis, or LCA.
I was born with near perfect vision. However, I was also born with this condition called LCA. And LCA basically attacks the rods and cones in my eyes and slowly, over time, gradually took away my vision to what it is right now.
Learning how to do tricks while blind might be hard, but he says it's all worth it.
The concept of making your board rotate in any direction and still landing back on it without being able to watch it turn terrifies me. But I do it because I know I can, and once I land it, that trick is mine and no one can take it from me.
He says his dream is to go pro and one day become a beacon of inspiration.
I want to go pro so that way I can help anyone who may be less fortunate than me, who maybe doesn't have a support system or parents who believe in them or people who push them. But when they go home and they look on their TV and they see me, they believe that anything is possible. That's right.
COCO says that he never plans on quitting skateboarding, and in the future he hopes to open his own all-inclusive skate park. Reporting for Valley View News, I'm Elizabeth Medina.
An Israeli farmer broke the Guinness World Record for the heaviest strawberry. It weighs 289 grams or 10 ounces. That's about 5 times the average weight of a strawberry. Chahi Ariel grew the fruit and says he saw the size of the berry and thought it could break the world record. Unusually cold weather in 2021 slowed the strawberry's ripening, which is what allowed it to grow bigger.
That's all for us at Valley View News. I'm Elizabeth Campos.
And I'm Natalie Sierra. For stories any time of the day, go to our website, csunvalleyview.edu. Thanks for watching.